Do you ever just feel like you can't stop yourself from overthinking about every little problem? You're just constantly thinking about every scenario that could make something go wrong, or everything bad that you've ever done just comes up all at once. This is a mind attack or an ego attack. And this is one of the most, common things that happens, especially when you're starting to have a spiritual awakening. And when you're really starting to awaken to who you truly are and the amazing qualities about the present moment, because that's all we ever have. When you start to awaken to this idea, it's raining, by the way, but as you know, on this channel, we don't let a little rain stop us from making a video. But when you get to a point where you're about to transcend your mind, you're about to transcend the constant overthinking, you're hit with an ego attack. And this will happen to you probably a lot of times, to be honest. It's not ever going to be something that's easy at first, especially when you're first going through an awakening. So I thought it would be nice to talk about this as someone who's just recently experienced this. And I've experienced it many times. The ego is programmed for survival. It's programmed to make sure that you survive. And it was especially useful in times where people needed to survive in the wild, and they had to hunt, and they had to run from animals, or whatever it may be. And so it's just something that's always looking for the problem to help you in a way. It's not like the ego is not you. That's the problem that most people are experiencing, is when you begin to identify with these things that the ego likes to label you as. And there can be good labels too that you might enjoy, as long as you don't let those hinder you. But especially bad labels are when you still identify as the person who did something years ago that you regret, or just you feel like you've been a lazy person in the past, or you feel like you weren't worthy of love in the past because of your personality, or just, it could be really anything that you previously identify with or currently identify yourself as, because of these things building up in your mind, and it's always repeating these beliefs to you. So that's a powerful thing, is changing your beliefs about yourself. That's a big way to overcome these. But realize that you don't have to have any beliefs. That's the ultimate feeling of peace, is when you don't have to even realize that you're thinking. You're not even thinking anymore. Like, you're thinking, but you're not having thoughts race through your mind about this and that and this and that. Meditation is a powerful way to overcome that as well. And all of these things can help. But I just want to make sure the most important thing that we realize is that we are not just this ego, because the ego is designed to label and to help us survive. And it's helped many people survive in harsher conditions over centuries. But now is the time where we're transcending this ego, or we're trying our best to. I clearly still have an ego, and you probably do too. We all do. It's not bad that we have an ego, but we have to understand the ego in order to transcend it, or at least be free from the constant overthinking and anxiety. Anxiety can be healed in this way, and depression can be healed so much easier this way than by giving you a pill that's gonna just suppress it. You have to face some of these issues. Maybe you're going through an awakening, and you wish that this never happened to you, and you're like, I don't want to go through a spiritual awakening now. I don't want to be aware of all this and feel like now I'm weird, or I'm not someone that fits in, because that's, again, all these are just labels and characters that people are playing, and it's really fun. It's not that serious, people. I want to also say that it's not that serious. We get so caught up in this, what's spiritual and what's not spiritual, and what is the true point of spirituality. The true point of spirituality is to realize you're just here. It doesn't even matter what you are or who people think you are or what you want to be. You're here to experience and learn and grow. And the part of that growth, especially in third density, is realizing that we are not just our mind and our body, and it's taken a long evolution of consciousness to get to this point where we're able to communicate these ideas, and it's going to take off so much as this fourth density shift is going on. But that lasts, according to the law of one, I believe 100 million years fourth density is going to last. So we got a long ways to go, people, but we're the pioneers. If you want to label yourself as that, you're a pioneer of fourth density. So that's it. That's basically what I'm trying to say, is to let go of that suffering. Let go of that. The reason I feel so confident that I can say this is because I've been experiencing this suffering. I know exactly what many of you are probably going through, where you're just repeating just the most arbitrary things in your head over and over each day. Like, whether it's what you're doing each day, or because that's what habits are. It's just unconscious behavior, a lot of it. The labels that you give yourself are so powerful. That's why it's important to be aware of maybe some of the labels that you're giving yourself. Are you labeling yourself as an empath, but then feeling like you're oversensitive? A lot of the reasons people talk about empaths on YouTube, though, is to give people advice on, what to do if they feel like they're sensitive. But if you let that, use that in a positive way, and that's what I try and say in my videos, is to use these things in a positive way. Don't let them hold you back. So the ego is very sneaky, and it will try and label you in so many different ways. You just got to be careful about what you allow to really stick, and because that becomes who you are. Like, I'm a Panthers fan. I'm a Carolina Panthers NFL football fan. Like, that was my identity. Like, my sports teams were my life. It was like my soul. I was just that locked. Like, when you really believe that you are something, you become that. So you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Your beliefs are what is creating your reality, and just your feelings. So if you're feeling as if you are something, then you're likely going to become that. And this is, the most powerful way to manifest things, really, through the feeling. And I've got more videos coming talking about that for sure. An awesome way to enjoy this is to just laugh at your mind and laugh at it and say, look at you, just going and going and going on about things that are just like, this is the internal dialogue that the majority of people are basing their entire identity off of. And that internal dialogue has already been picked up in previous, you've had, when you were a kid, you were picking up all of this information and beliefs about yourself through experiences that you might have this whole time held as your own true nature, but it wasn't really just you. It was you observing all of these things. There's a quote from The Lord of the Rings that I was recently watching the first Lord of the Rings movie, and it says, Frodo says, I wish the ring had never come to me. I wish none of this had happened. So he's saying he wishes none of this had happened, because this ring, if you don't know about the Lord of the Rings movies, I'm not going to spoil it, but basically the ring it's having people chase him because it's got like all of this evil power within it, right? And it's like people are chasing him because of this ring. So he's saying, I wish none of this had happened. So you're having all of these thoughts come in, all of this negativity that you wish wasn't happening in the moment. It's the worst thing ever when it's happening, I know. But then Gandalf, the wise wizard, he says, so do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All you have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to you. So, all who live to see times like this, where things seem negative and, everyone's trapped inside and buying into, all of these limiting beliefs for years and years. That's not for us to decide, that whether or not we chose to come to this planet where we feel like, I'm so much more spiritual than all these people. You only can decide what to do with the time that you have while you're here. You came here for a reason, and you did choose to come here on a higher level, whether or not you want to believe that or not. I mean, I don't really know that for sure. I'm just saying that's somewhat of what I believe, but honestly, I don't know. We don't fully know. There's a lot of evidence as to why I would say that, but I'm not going to place that belief on you. I'm just going to say that that you didn't consciously know when you were going to come here as a human, and you didn't, in this human body choose, I'm going to come to Earth right now. But you did for a reason. You came to Earth to help awaken and maybe just awaken yourself, maybe not even help awaken anyone else, but just you awakening is raising the vibration of this planet, and that's being proven by science now. So I don't really know, I'm just kind of rambling about this, but what I really want to take home here is to appreciate the fact that you came here, and don't just deny your ego and your human body as something that you don't need to, well, maybe your ego, but you don't have to neglect this body and be like, I wish I was back in my old homeland on another planet or something, You're here for something. So do what you can with the time you have. You might not have known this before now. It's a wake-up call. I don't know what I'm talking about. You don't really know what you're talking about, so why should we divide ourselves? Let's just learn together. Peace out.